What it do, y'all? It's Achilles. We're back. I'm back. I got my, just like I got back Saturday, Sunday. Today's Monday. So I've been back home for like what? I'll possibly say probably like 55 hours at this point. So, I just run a few things by you guys about, just the path to doing my classes and doing my thing, this, that, and the third, and I'm doing pretty well at it. I would think so, but personally, I think that the jewelry business is about money for me. I feel like it's about taking care and supporting yourself and giving people a product or a service that's good and consistently. You're not trying to rip people off. I mean, you have to make money, but also you're not trying to rip people off and being fair and good business practices. Because I feel like a lot of people, they'll sell people anything, and not like that's problematic. And you won't able to you're not disclosing necessarily everything. Just like the next time you buy a piece of jewelry from somebody you're not necessarily familiar, please ask for a microscope. And zoom in at 10x. I don't know how to do it because obviously I've been to school, I've been trained to do that. And before then, I really had no experience doing that. So, over the course of 5 days, I wound up looking and touching diamonds, this, that, and the third. I like touching diamonds. I would say yes and no, but I don't think that's necessarily my thing. I mean, honestly, I'll learn to love and pretty much learn the craft of making jewelry to a certain extent. Maybe a Cuban link, maybe a ring or a engagement ring, so I can always have a skill and not just selling people some stuff. Because that, to me, selling is one thing. Like being a salesperson, that's good, but like if you're not able to work with your own hands, and sales jobs, they might pay well, but if you don't have the skill to do it all and market and do all aspects of business, whether it be import and export, and be able to get good bargains to be able to make a product and then get it to an end user, and it's available to people, they're able to get a good deal. To me, the business relationship is more important than the money. I always think that, somebody could give somebody I watched this thing, like I said on the last stream, how this man that went to K Jewelers or Zales or one of those jewelry stores or whatnot. He paid $19,000 for it wasn't even an I1. It's like an I2 diamond. That's terrible. That's terrible. 19,000. It was crappy quality. It was horribly cut. And the thing about diamonds too, I'll tell people right off the bat, all diamonds and certain aren't cut well. They're really not cut well. They can have a thick girdle or whatnot. People are just trying to retain as much weight as possible. And, the symmetry could be terrible on a diamond. So what you really have, you have a lopsided diamond. And if you look at a GIA report, I go to GIA. So, still focus on my thing. I got a few more classes before I become a graduate gemologist. And that's possibly another, well, I'm honest, it's probably another 10 grand, but hopefully I'm seriously making some money by then or whatnot. Focus on a few things. Someone asked what I like working in a jewelry store. The answer to that question is yes and no. And it's not anything about ego driven and certain stuff like that, the face-to-face interaction. I feel like, sometimes, people play on people's stupidity or supposed stupidity. I'm not stupid. I mean, I like being a great troll. So, there's nothing about, not doing the work and nothing like that. But it's just something about when, I don't know. To me, a lot of business relationships can be, lost by just certain stuff or just by the sake of how the way people do business. Like if someone asked me the average jewelry store, I told somebody who they did a career change. The person I was sitting beside, they're like they worked for the LAPD for 30 years. They live out in Tennessee and whatnot. And they were doing a career change. The person was funny. They were good. I guess I had a great time. At first, when I took that test, you basically were given I'm not going to give all the details and certain stuff like that, but you were basically given, you basically had to choose between a diamond, no nothing. You didn't know what it was. You had to use like a $7,000 microscope. And based on the stuff you would learn over the course of a few days, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. You basically graded everything. Like, you would have to grade a diamond in an hour, do math, look at symmetry, look at charts, and then basically, there's a lot. But I mean, if you, over a course of like 5 days, to me personally, I don't think 5 days is enough. For someone who's never done that before, but I mean, luckily I got the concept. I pretty much did stuff, but honestly speaking, I really feel too good taking that test. I almost had a panic attack taking that test, to be completely honest with you, but I mean, I passed. But I guess that's not the point. But I guess besides the point with the stuff, I don't think there's any type of practice you can do. Like, when people say that, with tests, gives you get a good concept of certain stuff, like, you can't necessarily get a good concept. You have to do hands-on. And even still then, there's aspects that you have to do. Like, you have to hold tweezers a certain way. You have to use the microscope a certain way. You have to use a corner probe a certain way. Like, if you're not careful and using something, you can mess something up. Like, you can ruin the clarity of a diamond by gripping the tweezer so hard that some people don't know. And then two, to be honest, a lot of people don't know that, whoever they're going to shop with, some of these people don't even know their own clarity of a diamond. They really don't. The only way you're going to tell the clarity of a diamond is like looking at a lot or a parcel. Someone comes in and brings diamonds or whatnot, and you look at a microscope, and then you just have to be careful, and you have to also look at look at the stuff. It has like a white little, it's not necessarily, how can I put it this way? It's a special sort of paper. It's like a white reflective piece of paper that basically used. And then my teacher said what she does when she used to be the head of buying diamonds, and she would have a foldable business card or something like that, because people, they would try to trick actual people who are using that to basically make an end product blue, so the diamonds don't necessarily emit a special type of light or whatnot. So you go and look at it, or you have a special setting, because diamonds can fluoresce. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends. But if you want fluorescence, you would probably want it to be faint. I know my tests and certain stuff like that, you definitely have to go back there and check. Now, I honestly think, I don't think the test it's not for the faint of heart, but you really have to go and do math. Then there's other math and certain stuff. People say it's elementary math. I don't think it's elementary math, because everybody can't go and do it. And, another thing that just makes you mad in the traditional sense is when people say, obviously the answer is this, that, and the third. That's just something that's, you know, so kind of douchebaggy, but that's neither here or there. But it is what it is. Don't necessarily have a problem with people. I like my instructors, very good or whatnot. I'll be back soon. I'll be back soon. No, interesting thing I think about time and then business and just working or whatnot. I think working is great. People talk about I think working is great. It gives you some type of boost to your income. But outside of that, like sales position for these companies, these jobs and stuff going to go like next month. The U.S. is probably more than likely going to default on their loans. So that means they said that approximately 8 million jobs are going to be lost. I know people saying that jewelry and certain stuff, people not going to. Jewelry is a luxury. Like, people don't have enough money to buy jewelry. And I think there's bargains all around to a certain extent. Like, I know people go to certain places and they try to price an engagement ring, this, that, and the third. You know, do I think a $300 engagement ring is going to be good? It just depends. I think a lot of stuff could be, it just depends. I'll just do a middle of the road approach. Not everybody needs to be spending, you know, $5,000 on a ring or certain stuff like that. People are talking about lab and natural. What are my thoughts on lab? I think lab serves a purpose. It is a diamond. All a diamond is what you call it. It's just a heated up carbon crystal. That's all it is. But the only difference is between a natural and a lab is what you call the conditions in which it formed, and then the fact that it happened under rock and pressure. I guess I'm gonna get back to schedule on what I'm talking about in terms of like diamonds. Me personally, I think diamonds to a certain extent are they worthless? The answer is no. But I think that the stories and certain stuff like that, to a degree, some of stuff's been fabricated. Like sometimes you see these auction houses saying that diamond is internally flawless. It might be that to a certain extent. But after handling and shipping and verifying certain stuff, it might go down. Like if it's not smart to buy a flawless diamond ring because you have to be extremely careful. And then to uh, then too, like that's probably something you have to put in a safety deposit box, and then the insurance. I told somebody like if you're at the airport, you're wearing a watch. I'm not putting that thing on a in a security tray. I don't care. Like if anything, I'll do a private screening or something like that. Like if I've got something on my wrist or something like that, and it's like $70,000 or $50,000, why would I put that on the thing? Even they do got cameras. It's easy to like lose that type of stuff. Like by putting that in a tray or putting that in a book bag, people's stuff can get stolen. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of believing in a system or a thing that's like, you put your stuff in there. Or you got to deal with the grievances of filing a police report or going dealing with airlines for missing luggage or stolen luggage. That's a hassle in itself. Who wants to deal with that? And then insurance. I know with watches and certain stuff like that, AP is like the first company to insure, like if watches are stolen or whatnot, they'll go and replace it. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be an industry-wide thing. And I'm not a fan of AP doing that. I feel like that's a commendable thing to do. But honestly, I think watches are meant to be worn to a certain extent. But if, the price tag is like $750,000 for a watch, that's not something to be worn. Maybe on a special occasion or something like that. But me personally, I wouldn't even wear it out. If I buy a collectible piece of art, it'll be in a safety deposit box or something like that. It's just not going to be worn. Or for collectability. Like, someone had to ask who do I think is the best watch brand, like in terms of like history. I'm gonna say Patek. Patek easily wins because they got watches and stuff from the 1800s and stuff like that, and they've been around a long time. Who do I think is the most innovative watchmaker right now? I'm gonna say it's a tie between Richard Mille and I say and Grubel Forsey. Those are two innovative watchmaking companies, in my opinion, or timepiece companies. They don't. Well, I put with Grubel Forsey. I want to get a Balancier Convex. That's what I want to get. The only reason why I basically chose jewelry in the sense I want watches. That's the honest God truth. Yeah, me personally, I don't think that a lot of stuff, like, the more money people spend for something that's not educated purchase is going to be bad. Like, I would say with any watch or anything, the more money you spend for something that's not an educated purchase, and watches are nothing but an expensive toy, I feel like they're art. In my opinion, they're art, but still, the debate can be said with anything. Anything is not an investment. Like, properties in itself, having properties as part of your portfolio and owning a large amount of properties. Number one, if you're not staying at a property or whatnot, it's not like, let's say someone owns maybe I say a multiple thing of houses, right? Houses on certain stuff become a liability at a certain point. They're not staying there. They're not maintaining upkeep of a house. They're not paying the property taxes. They don't have a trust fund for it. They don't have a lot of stuff for oversight, so it could basically pay itself. Like, you're still doing the work. But, you know, all the other stuff is just taking care of itself. Like, I think the hotel business, to a certain extent, a lot of stuff is scammy. So even I view hotels as a scam, to a degree. But it's neither here or there. A lot of stuff is not an educated purchase or educated buy. Like, for instance, like let's just say they had this thing every year where I'm from. It used to be like CIAA weekend. It was basically hosted in Charlotte. Hotels that were crappy would be charging a lot of money because the influx of people brought in and maximum profitability. There was just way too many people out there. And then also brought an element of just crap and riffraff and certain stuff going in there, and the place get tore up. And for what it was worth, you know, they moved the event and it came down to dollars and cents. You know, people had after parties. You had parties, you had events, something to do all weekend in Charlotte or whatnot, but at the same time, this is not everybody's lane. I'm not necessarily going to say, you know, anything that bad. Like, if I had to basically tell somebody about, like, you know, stores or scenes at certain places like that, obviously to a certain dynamic, you know, you're able to do a few things. Like, Charlotte and Atlanta is like, what, I say 4 hours and 30 minutes away. So you have at least a decent chance of going to some places popular or whatnot within a drivable distance. But for what it's worth, again, I don't think there's that many things out that I'd be like, yeah, this is something. Like, I see, like, people talk about rappers go and buy from the same people. I don't think I have a problem with that. Like, I saw a guy that I like watching. He basically said, how come Floyd Mayweather hasn't spent any money with him? Honestly speaking, Floyd Mayweather spends a lot of money on jewelry, but it doesn't mean that his purchases are smart. But yeah, I don't really think there's a lot of variety or whatnot. What? How? Oh my god, I almost won that. I feel pissed that I folded like that and I didn't have any shield and then I had that out. That's just crazy. But yeah, honestly speaking, like with the jewelry stores that I've been to and what I see, I mean, sometimes they do have nice stuff. They probably have, like, I don't know. I also think they have stuff from affordable to, like, semi-affordable. It just depends on people's budget. Like, Kay's Jewelry and Jared and all these different places. I feel like they scamming. Because I looked at the stuff they're selling. You look at the clarity or you look at the actual report they're going with, all these other IGL or who else is it? All these other labs and certain stuff. There's no clarity called no SI3. That's false. There's no such thing as SI3. There's a thing called I1. Now I1 to certain extent is not as bad as like an I2 or I3. I3 is just terrible. Looks like a galaxy diamond. Looks terrible. It'll just have brown stuff all over it and specks. It'll look like one of those jelly bean, speckled jelly beans from that little nasty set where they had the ones with the fart. That's exactly what a diamond will look like. It'll have just brown spots all over it. Let me check here. Because honestly speaking, I think a lot of these places are just terrible. They'll pass the stuff off to a consumer, and I will feel bad about that. I know people say, you know, you trying to get paid, but I got ethics, I got morals. Not selling people out for the value of $1. Like, that's terrible. We're not making money off it because we sleep. That's just terrible. Let me check Jared. Jared. They're owned by the same people, I think. Look at the diamonds real quick. Let me leave the lobby. I'm gonna give y'all the breakdown of what I see. But I know they don't sell anything high quality, diamond wise. Diamond jewelry, okay. What are these diamonds? How much these diamond rings? Stud diamonds. These junks is probably eyes. Product specs. Oh my god, and I was correct. This is terrible. You're charging I2 and an eye color. That means that diamond is so terrible. But for it's not bad. The price is not bad, but selling that to somebody, I don't know about that one. I gotta be honest with people. Don't allow. $3,000 for this diamond. Product specs. And I2. These people are out of their mind. There is no way that you can charge $3,000 for an I2. Honestly speak, I would tell people to get their wear jewelry from. Get it from Tracks NYC. Get it from Tracks NYC. You can possibly get a diamond ring for like between 3 and 5, and offering financing. So, what is this? I'm looking at a diamond ring right now from Jared. I see an SI2. But it's lab. They possibly made like $4,000 off that. I have a problem with that. I'm not mad at someone making between 15 and then like 2,500, but when you crack people upside the head and you're charging the man like a lot of money for that, yeah, that's gonna be problematic. Brown cut. This is probably another eye. A diamond bridle. Product specs. This is trash. Some people eye diamonds. And like, what is this? Like, oh my god. Most places are not going to have VVS. Most people's lying. Most places are only going to be able to sell SI2. Between SI2, SI1, and depending on who's great the diamond, they can call it VS2. Ain't nothing. It's something like, obviously with diamonds and certain stuff, you have to have a microscope. Like, if someone wanted me to go and step in and be a troll at a diamond place, so I'll just ask for a microscope. In fact, I'm going to start trolling to a certain extent, not trolling too hard. Hopefully I'll be able to make an engagement ring or something like that. Not go into places to troll for fun. Look at the prices or price check people. To me, I don't necessarily think a lot of stuff is competition, not necessarily be cocky or anything like that. I just don't think that, in a sense, people are fighting for customers. A market, if you haven't cornered in all four, like, things, like, let's say someone could go for $2,000, they're getting the best value for their money. They get a piece of jewelry for, like, let's say you're trying to get a gold ring, maybe a 10-karat ring for, like, I don't know, necessarily a thick ring. Probably, I would say 250 pennyweight or something like that. That could possibly be done. I'd probably say between 350 and 450. No diamonds, no nothing, but get a nice little ring or something like that. That's doable, in my opinion. I think a lot of things with jewelry in a certain sense is that people, I don't know, depending on what they're selling. Every jewelry store is different. Like, there's a jewelry store that I like not necessarily going to. I haven't necessarily been in one in a long time. I think the stuff they got in there is nice to a certain extent, but again, for stuff they're charging for, and for what you can go out there and find it for, like, I know I would never buy a watch naked, and basically you're paying a tax between, I would say, $3,000 and $5,000, and people not even checking to make sure that the watch is even running correctly, make sure it's gaining time. That's not for gaining time, but they need to be able to check that. or it's losing time, and you go and sell that. Or like the people, I'm not going after the actual people. Like people entitled to go to whoever they want to. Like I saw somebody go and like everybody wants to get the bust down Cartier Santos. I would never buy Santos. You would never see me rocking a Santos on my wrist. It's terrible. It's not a good value for money. A Santos is like $7,000. And what these people have gone and done, they'll go and buy up all these Santos, and they'll put diamonds on it. They probably put like $3,000 worth of diamonds, or probably 2.5, and they'll go and sell this junk for like 15K. It's not worth 15K, man. And what it is, it doesn't look like it was set good. Stones and stuff were set good on it. And honestly, too, if I want something with diamonds or something like that, I wouldn't even want it to be overly flashy. So I'll prefer pave or partial pave diamonds on the watch. Because it's really small and they use like melee sized diamonds. I'll possibly say like 5-pointer, between 5 and 8-pointer. So that's pretty minute. It's small. Like the RM6701, that's something I want to get with a partial pave. It looks pretty nice. It's very low key and it's small. I'm gonna finish watching this documentary soon. I was watching about a black guy and black man. He was doing diamond stuff in the 80s or whatnot. People didn't necessarily respect him, but they understand he was business savvy, business oriented or whatnot. He knew how to hustle. He knew his value, and it says people respect him more. And this name kind of grew in the West 47th Street. And that's like one of the biggest streets in all of, pretty much in the world, I think, in terms of volume and how many actual people, businesses are there, and how much money and jewelry is actually there. But honestly speaking, West 47th Street, there's tiers to like jewelers and jewelry in a sense. You got jewelry in a sense, people are they're making their money. Nothing wrong with it. Sometimes jewelers are getting scammed to a certain extent. They're not doing their due diligence. And that has nothing to do with, like, the price of some things. Like, but I think it's just the acumen. Like, I think that sometimes people have a hard time selling. Sometimes these bust down watches with an Arabic dial. Number one, that's a waste of an Arabic dial. Like, you literally had to go. Someone took that watch apart. You can only get it in the Middle East, like a platinum Daytona with an Arabic dial on it. And then baguette diamonds or certain stuff like that, the bezel, all that type of stuff. The dial itself is possibly worth, like, I want to say $15,000. An Arabic dial and then platinum, and people go and do custom stuff and mess up the dial, mess up the watch, take it apart. That's idiotic. I hate to say it, but it is idiotic. But yeah, I was watching this thing, came back up, this lady, she has her own store in like a mall. She has her like old 1990 date judge store, all these different models. The watch itself is possibly worth, like, she said it was like 6,000 or whatnot. She used diamonds. I don't think she probably used the best diamonds possible in the stuff. This guy's an idiot. But yeah, that's the point. She's not using the highest quality stones. She's just putting stuff up there, and it doesn't look like set well. Thing about Rolex, I give Rolex a good job on setting stones. Like if they have a baguette Daytona with all this different stuff. Like they have a Pepsi with sapphires and rubies on the bezel, and the demographic, they don't have that where I'm at. It's like special order. Then they had that Rolex Sky Dweller with meteorite dial with like diamonds. I forgot what setting they had it at. I mean, it's nice, but it's not worth no $800,000. I'm not paying $800,000 for Rolex. It's just, that doesn't make any sense. I like the Sky Dweller to a certain extent, but Rolex and stuff's not necessarily, they haven't been doing that much for me personally. I think the Date Justice class, you know, something that's been around for a long time. Who knows? Maybe at some point I'll get myself a Date Justice or something, but past that, nah, for the most part. Now the Daytonas, the two-tone is like, retails like 14. I think today it's valued at like 27 something. So you can make a decent amount of money if you know how to buy. If you're able to get that at retail. So there's some great deals and bargains or whatnot. I think every man should at least have one or a few decent watches based off the budget. Like, if you don't have necessarily the Rolex, I'm gonna get yourself into this Rolex sister brand. So, it's been around since like 1926. My memory serves me correctly. But, honestly speaking, with these stores and certain stuff like that, I was watching this thing, like someone had to ask me about, like, you know, other watches and the brands. Like Breitling in itself is not a bad brand in itself. The only Breitling that I would see myself use is a Breitling Emergency. That's like if you out in the wilderness, and like someone had asked me what would I take, I would have a Breitling Emergency. Because it has a satellite in there. It's like a GPS. You gotta pay money, but at least you'll be safe. You'll be able to be found. You basically take the crown out or whatnot. You'll be rescued. There's a story about someone had that on their wrist or something like that, and their helicopter crashed. It was over the ocean, and people had to be out there like 2 days. They got saved and rescued, but honestly speaking, flying over the ocean, I mean, people do it all the time. But I think other stuff gotta kick in, survival instincts. And you gotta be able to float. After 2 days, you're in the water, you can't sleep, you're not gonna be able to, you basically have to float. Maybe you can sleep. But I wouldn't want to be sleeping in the water and there's like ocean and sharks and all that type of stuff, and you're not going to be necessarily in a great state of mind by that. But that's not the point. Like Rolex GMT Master 126710 BLRO is the Pepsi. There's been so many reiterations of the Pepsi, it's not even funny. Rolex does the same thing each year. The only thing they do is change the power reserve. Maybe probably change the bezel and then the caliber of the watch. or maybe they changed the ink on the actual Cyclops, that actual date wheel. It's probably what they do. But honestly speaking, with the watches and stuff in the market, Rolex been around for a long time, so they can't be but so bad. But yeah. Dumbass. See, I hate when I have to try hard because it just pisses me off. Like, in terms of like what I think about business, it is in general, everybody is necessarily a customer. Like, the more businesses that basically use somebody, I guess the better. Like if someone has a wholesale business or whatnot, if someone buys, like the game is pretty much the same thing with wholesale anywhere. The more you buy from a person and you get it at a better price, the more you buy in bulk, the better. You have a rapport, get a better deal. Same thing with diamonds, same thing with like, you know, someone's in the, I guess, food delivery thing. Like, let's say someone needs Gatorades or something like that. A facility, someone's getting Gatorade at a wholesale price. And then they're making $1.39 profit per unit. That's going to be a whole lot better than someone going out there, like at a gas station. You know, they're charging, you know, $3 or something they possibly paid $1.39 for. They're making about $1.70 per unit. That's just the name of the game. The choice is whether or not, you know, you go out here and go actually to a doggone store and buy the whole doggone Gatorade. The choice is yours, but you're paying for the convenience. That's what we're doing. We're paying for the convenience. It's already chilled. It's already this, that, and the third. This guy's a coward. I done killed this guy before, Marine Dog. But yeah, honestly, how I see business, I just think a lot of stuff. People have to make money. People have to flip profit, turn profit. But long term, I don't think a lot of people will be able to sustain some of the stuff they were doing. Like, let's say for instance, someone buys a watch. Like I said, naked. You don't get box. You don't get papers. You're just getting a thing. You have no cards. You have no servicing history. Hell, you don't even know if the watch itself has been polished. Polishing a watch can be bad to a certain extent. They can over polish the bracelet. This, that, and the third. I would rather spend a lot more money sending a watch to get serviced and not having it for like, a few months than have a watch that looks terrible. No symmetry, not polished well. The case is done. The alignment of the band is completely gone. This looks terrible. This looks terrible. Like the clasp and everything, like the logo on the clasp is gone. You know how it used to feel? You can still feel the ridges in the band and in the logo. And now you can definitely tell, you put your fingers across it, it's just terrible. I watched this guy today. He was talking about, he gives people fair price estimates. He buys watches off people for a living or whatnot. That's what he does. He used to work for Rolex for like 2 years or something like that. And he just got involved with other brands. Rolex, AP. I think that's the only two he basically deals with. He has his brand preferences, and people like his presence, and he's been established. But honestly speaking, I mean, the watch market, to a certain extent, it is what it is. Like, a lot of these companies are like dead on arrival. I'll give you a few names. I mean, Panerai, they don't necessarily make bad watches, but the price is a little bit exorbitant for what it's worth. Obviously, you have brand loyalists that don't mind spending the premium prices that, these companies and stuff command. Me personally, I think Panerai is a great addition to a collection. You need to have a beater watch. It doesn't matter about the price tag. It just matters if it's stylish, you like it, you wear it. Just go from there. And you want to get something better, just get it pre-owned. Make sure the box, papers, and condition is good. Yeah, that's something important to think about. Box, papers, condition, pre-owned. Make sure it's still good. Make sure there's not any water damage. Make sure the case and stuff is still good. The shell of the watch is real or whatnot. Just make sure the stuff is just completely real. The movements are real. Get it tested or whatnot. To me, I like factory watches. I like plain Jane watches. Diamonds, I mean, it's kind of grown on me depending on who it's made by and how it's done. But not overly flashy. It's not my brand. Like something that's technologically innovative, but not necessarily like gaudy. But yeah. Honestly speaking, with the watches and certain stuff like that, for what I've seen at the these events they have in Switzerland, like Watches of Wonder, we have another one of those. Yeah, I'll be able to go one of these days, hopefully in the near future. But yeah, I think a lot of places should not command a premium price if the product itself is not premium, no matter what it is. And businesses and certain, so just because a company is profitable doesn't mean it's always going to stay profitable. And every time, you know, a business can always go back and invest money into a product because sometimes a lot of stuff goes stagnant. Maybe sometimes like a watch company could go through something and just get stagnant after a while. Like someone said, like Frank Mueller was a popular watch brand in the early 90s, late 2000s, but they they basically fell off into obscurity. I mean, I can't say that they fell off to obscurity because that would actually be kind of false to a certain extent. They just don't have a big market share as they once did. And to me, that's perfectly fine. Falling off into obscurity sometimes could be a good thing. It just depends. Yeah, someone said that Richard Mill. Sit your dumb ass down. Bro, what the hell? I was so close to winning and I got in a oh my god, a bad position. It is what it is. I'll probably play a few more. Let me get my phone real quick. Let me try to find my phone real quick, because I know normally when I'm like, dang, where did I put my phone at? That's the $1 million question. Alright, someone had to ask me what I think is the biggest way to make $1 million. That's the thing, make $1 million. That's really hard, but you gotta be consistent. To me, money's more so constant. No one's going to necessarily. I think some people have to liquid $1 million, but you be taxed. Taxes are not bad 100%, but where the economy and stuff is going, I don't see things being in a very good state in the near future. Like a defense budget, like you spend a lot of money, like you get taxed basically a military strong I'll say spending money on an aircraft that is going to crash somewhere, then China or somebody's going to be able to pick it up. It's idiotic. The only people making the money is the people selling this equipment. Like, yeah, to me, a lot of stuff, so if I had to be completely honest, with business and these companies making millions of dollars or whatnot, or billions, it just depends. Honestly speaking, like someone said that Mark Zuckerberg is smart. I don't doubt that he is smart, but the thing about, with all these companies trying to do the same thing to stay ahead of the curve, and basically the curve in a sense is that Chat GPT, all this stuff, AI, I don't think AI can solve real world problems. Like human error is obviously going to be a whole lot better than, my opinion, computer error or just technological error, because your whole system is built off the internet and the technology. Your whole system is out. Like, let's say, for instance, I found myself like 7 years ago, basically missing a flight, and all flights were delayed by probably 3 hours. And then as a result, I didn't get my mom didn't get her luggage like a whole day or something like that. That was ridiculous. And I had to keep on going and buying certain stuff and being reimbursed for money. That was a nightmare in itself, but that's just bad. We're overly dependent on technology. It's terrible. Technology should be used in unison, but it should not be replacing, I guess the human aspect or human error. Obviously, it's not necessarily going to be costlier. I say technology is going to be a lot more costlier. Because when a decision is not based off of facts and then you're going off data, maybe let's say empirical data still should be used. But if you're seeing that like computers calculating how many months you have of being profitable, like let's say someone is let's say they had 24 consecutive months in the black. The company's doing well or whatnot. Then all of a sudden they see a curve showing that, in order to stay up with the times, we have to be able to use a computer in unison what we've been doing instead of our decision has to be based off a computer or AI. It's not necessarily smart, in my honest opinion. What the computer won't tell people is that there's a reason why people are using certain people's business. There's a reason why there's a personal touch. That's why people keep on coming back and using the business. Like if someone put basically all these companies are going and saying, putting a link to your average clicks per thing, this, that, and the third, and how much revenue that's basically generating. That's useful, in my honest opinion, but also you can't go and base a lot of stuff off of what the computer is saying. Like you have a personal touch a personal relationship with somebody, a business relationship. It wasn't a computer that helped you did that. You know, a lot of these companies, they'll shell out, like, you know, PlayStation. For PlayStation, I realized for every, I'll say $256 you spend, you approximately get $10 off. And by essentially doing that, the payout rate for that is terrible, it's abysmal. $256 you spend on a game, or spend on games just to get $10. Granted, bargains are around, but again, I think I'm done buying games. I bought Spider-Man, I might play that, the remaster, that was $10, but that's possibly it. I'm not about to spend, you know, $109 on a video game, at least not now. Spider-Man, the new one, I'll buy it for sure, but it's not smart. My sister asked me, you know, what I think about clothing. Clothing is another one of those things I think people should spend a lot of money on. The way I view money and certain stuff is completely different. Now, other people possibly view money. Like, money to me is a concept. To me, wealth isn't necessarily about how much money you have today. It's about how much you can save and how well you can control your expenses. And not necessarily being cheap. But at the same time, if your average expenses a month to sustain yourself are astronomically high, you're spending money on clothing, you're spending, like, let's say someone's clothing budget is like, let's say $7,000 a month. That's ridiculously high. People should be able to dress nice, but you know, you might want to be looking at clearance. And someone also had to ask you what I think about auctions. Auctions, I feel like, are good to a certain extent. No matter whether it's squashes, you can possibly get a better deal on certain stuff. Like, there was a Protect. It was like the annual calendar. I think it was chronograph. It was a green dial. It retailed for like 60,000 and it went on the auction for like 48. So that necessarily wasn't necessarily a bad deal. It got a slight discount. That's like 10. That's probably like a 15% discount. You know, still fairly in a good condition. I think one of the auction houses has it. I might go to an auction just to be entertained. But honestly speaking, auctions for certain stuff, I feel like they're kind of scammy. They can be crummy. Because in order for people to get certain stuff, they have to look at a lot. You got to look at the lot price, and then there's a lot of stuff, laws. or whatnot and go from there. And the articles that build up the hype, this, that, and the third, but I don't know. There's certain stuff that's not popular and it's basically faded off into obscurity. But if it hits the auction, it's pretty good. Not sure the most popular, not the most known stuff, but it still commands a hefty price tag. If someone said like a non-popular watch brand, I'll say FP Journe and Philippe Dufour. Philippe Dufour only probably makes like what 20 watches, and he's a fairly older gentleman. He's like 75, and I think he's about to retire from making watches, but his daughter's making watches. I'd like to own one of those watches. Maybe a Grand Sonnery. Like someone said that pocket watches are out of style. I don't think that pocket watch necessarily is out of style. But the fact that, I don't know, it's not popular. Patek still makes pocket watches, but I think something that's kind of faded off their obscurity that costs like $250,000 and it goes all the way up to 1.1 million. That's a good investment, but I don't consider that an investment. I consider that like it's not necessarily a smart thing because it has to hit an auction, but it just depends. It's art to me. There's appreciation, in my opinion, not necessarily from the monetary value. It's just appreciation. Like one of the watchmakers, Philippe Dufour, he said that he built somebody a pocket watch. It was like a Grand Sonnery. Every striking hour, it'll make a lot of noise. It will strike out the hours. You can have a petite sonnery. And the maximum strikes a minute repeater can do is 31. You have to basically set your time on the watch to 11:59. You hear 31 strikes. You hear the quarter hours, the hour, quarter hours, and then the minutes. And then that's how you get it. But the minute repeater is kind of what you call it. You have to be very careful with that because it's like delicate. I might watch some more videos on watches and certain stuff, but I definitely like minute repeaters. I think Patek, they have a nice one. Cathedral Gone. But Patek, they don't make that many minute repeaters at all. I might look at some more things like the Nautilus. I kind of like the Nautilus a little bit, but the Nautilus is kind of a scam. There's like no way in heck they'll pay $220,000 for a watch that's made in stainless steel. Nothing about that is $200,000. That's not a great buy. I'll tell anybody that. But yeah, that's not a great buy. Right back to the man with the minute repeater. He spent like 7 years developing that whole thing, and a person just had it in his pocket and just had his coat or whatnot and just slammed the car door on his coat and certain stuff like that and said it wasn't supposed to work. to watch systems run. You can't slam a door on something as delicate as a minute repeater and all that type of stuff, and then the amount of hours and pretty much time it took to build that whole thing. But he got it back. I guess the thing is, you still have to have the original parts. You got to be a master watchmaker to do that type of stuff. There's someone asked me what a career for me. I think watchmaker, jeweler, goldsmith. If I got all that 3 under my belt and I got a lot of leverage, that's what I'm going for. Because it's not necessarily a traditional path. Like, to me, I don't think necessarily selling things to people is necessarily good. To me, if you always had a skill, the brains, the wit, the acumen, you pretty much in a good position. You can always work. Everybody can't do that. I prefer that over anything. Like, if you're able to, be a goldsmith, you work on watches, you're able to produce Cuban links or whatnot. You're able to check watches. You have the certifications, you have the diplomas, you have this, that, and the third. You have a business background. To me, it's better than being a salesman. Salespeople can be replaced. And oftentimes, basically what I'm trying to basically put out there is you can't necessarily be so focused on 100% one thing. You gotta have at least skills you can fall back on. I'm still thinking about a lot of these places we buy gold. Some places are fair. One deal I did one time with somebody when I was working at this place, the gold medal or the gold content was worth about $78 to get a person 68. So the person to get scammed or taken advantage of, that's pretty fair. If people really want to make money, just don't buy jewelry at all to a certain extent. Like, you want a nice little piece, but you want to make money, buy silver. Just buy silver and buy gold to a certain extent. Buy a gold bar. A whole lot better. Or even better, get quarters and stuff from like 1957 and get it melted down. Because they'll have silver and stuff in it. And for the price of, like, whatever it costs, you have a 1957 quarter, you got 4 of those, you can make $19 off that, or $20. So you're pretty much winning. Out of this, I'm finished watching a documentary and I'm going to just go to sleep. We're going to go from there. I wish I would get eliminated from this game. I'm trying to find somebody. I'm just tired of running around and not seeing anybody. I kind of want to get off the game anyway because I'm like bored at this point. Fortnite is my most played game. Like someone asked me what I think about pawn. I don't like the pawn business. Pawn to me is predatory. Someone who's terrible with money is basically getting a payday loan 164%, almost to 200%. It's taxing. Yeah, they have to pay more money than what they got out. And they can't necessarily get a loan from the bank in instant right there, so they wind up pawning something, and it's something that they love or need for. And they basically pay the stuff. I don't like pawn. God damn. Okay. Oh my god, I almost won.